Every haunted place has a story with a dark past. This is Ghost Encounters Podcast. Due to the graphic and violent things discussed on this episode, listener discretion is advised. Welcome back, all you spooky people, to the 10th episode of the second season of Ghost Encounters Podcast. I am paranormal investigator Justin Torok.
And I'm Jordan, the group scientist.
Unfortunately, Kayla is feeling unwell, so she could not make it today. Kayla, we hope you feel better, and thank you so much for helping out with some of this research. But we have a very special guest today. You've met her before. Hannah Wallner's back!
Hello! Woo! It's great to be here, guys!
Thank you for coming on. I remember talking to you not too long ago about some creepy Christmas traditions, and your eyes lit up, and you like some of the stuff that we're about to talk about. So I figured it'd be a great person to have on today.
I love horror, and I love folklore, and the blending of the two is just delicious. So I'm very excited.
Well, speaking of delicious, I think some of these things we're about to talk about eat people, but we will get to that. A few announcements before we get started. Don't forget, the holiday merch is on the Spooky Shop, but it will disappear right after the new year, so you might want to put in your order in now before it goes away until next year. This episode marks the end of the first half of the second season. Can you believe it already?
I know, I can't believe season 2 is halfway through.
Yeah, so we're going to go on a little bit of a holiday break, but we will be back after the new year. This episode, if you read the title, is a creepy Christmas episode. So there are a lot of strange, spooky, creepy holiday and Christmas traditions throughout the world, and that's what this is about. For those of you who don't know, we are located in Lehigh Valley, like I said, but more specifically, we are in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and Bethlehem is actually called the Christmas City. The entire city is lit up. It's crazy this time of year, right, ladies?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It really looks like a Hallmark movie. It is beautiful. It's no wonder why people call it the Christmas City. It is wonderful this time of year.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Christmas cheer, I think, is pretty real. Smiles all around, kindness, warmth from people, and the want to be around friends and family, and the excitement to give and receive presents. It is the most wonderful time of year, or is it? Well, not all places have full joy and jolly around the holidays. It seems there is a darkness lurking, and it may not be just with the weather outside that's frightful. Let's slay into some creepy Christmas stories and traditions. When I think of creepy Christmas traditions, the first thing I always think of is Victorian England. Have you ever heard about this tradition of reading ghost stories at Christmas time?
As somebody who loves folklore, yes.
It's very odd. I always knew about this, but I didn't know how deep it actually went. But for decades, like, reading ghost stories or telling ghost stories, if they didn't have books and they were just kind of saying them with their family around the fireplace, it was like embedded in Victorian England culture. Like, that's what you did, especially on Christmas Eve.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I think it makes a lot of sense, really, when you think about the Victorian obsession with death.
Yeah.
Everybody just had the consumption all the time. So you're literally sitting in your home with your family, and you're all huddled by the fire trying to keep the darkness at bay, and little ghost stories are like nice little memento moris.
Yeah,
for you.
you are exactly right. It's the families, and they would be huddled around the fireplace trying to keep warm in the dark, and that's kind of just what they did to pass the time, whether it be, telling tales, by word of mouth down the line, or actually reading from some kind of material. Now, while telling ghost stories in the dark of the year is very popular, Christmas ghost stories was pretty much only wildly popular in Victorian England. To understand why Christmas was traditionally a time for ghost stories, you have to look back on various connections in the celebration of Christmas as to the Celtic celebration of Yule, the winter solstice, and the darkest night of the year. The winter solstice is yet another liminal time, a time of the year when the veil between worlds is thin. This makes it therefore a perfect time for ghost stories. This belief, coupled with the fact that it simply gets darker earlier, makes the end of December kind of like the prime traditional haunted storytelling time. Telling ghost stories during winter is a hallowed tradition, a folk custom that stretches back centuries, when families would while away the winter nights with spooky tales huddled around the fireplace, over the years became a huge tradition to tell spooky stories on Christmas Eve. Now, I have a friend. Her name is Georgia. Georgia, if you are listening, hello. She is from England, and I asked her about this. Unfortunately, she said she's aware that this tradition existed, but they don't really do it anymore in England, unfortunately. I'm going to tell you about some of the most popular traditional spooky Christmas stories. Obviously, the first one that comes to mind for everyone should be A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, written in 1843. It's kind of like the most famous Christmas ghost story of all time. Obviously, we have to start with this one, so we know the story. The miserable Ebenezer Scrooge is thoroughly haunted by 3 ghosts until he is literally scared into embracing the Christmas spirit.
Oh my god, I never thought of it that way.
Really?
Yeah. It's like, oh, he had a beautiful change of heart and learned how to be,
No, he's literally haunted by 3 ghosts and is scared into being good. He's scared straight almost, you know?
Oh my god. That's like half of the Christmas critters in here.
Yeah, seriously. Another great one is The Old Nurse's Story by Elizabeth Gaskell, written in 1852. One of the great Victorian ghost stories, this tale of ghostly children, the pain of guilt, and the fatal threat of becoming lost in the shifting snows of northern England in midwinter is a certain pleaser. It is no pretty tale. It concerns an old woman haunted by the ghosts of her sister and young niece who perished in the snow one winter's night when she betrayed them to her violent father. Told in flashback by the eponymous nurse, it relates the then young nursemaid's harrowing attempt to save her little orphan girl from being lured into snowbanks by the vision of a little girl who leaves no prints in the bitter snow.
Okay, that's creepy.
I like that.
Another one is Horror, A True Tale by John Berwick Harwood, written in 1861. The slow burning suspense of this tale is enough to make your hair curl, or turn white overnight, just like the narrator. It's a young woman's story told by her as an old woman, recalling the experience that changed her life. After being scared so badly by a ghost in a haunted mansion, she turned 75 overnight. The last one I'm going to talk about is called The Ghost Summons by Ada Bryson, written in 1868. Basically, a doctor is hired to witness a man's final hours. I'm going to read you a small excerpt from this because I like the way that this one is written. Would you be willing to earn 1,000 pounds? 1,000 pounds? His words seemed to burn my very ears. I should be thankful. If I could do so honestly, I replied with dignity. What is the service required of me? A peculiar look of intense horror passed over the white face before me, but the black-blue lips answered firmly, to attend a deathbed.
Heavy.
Yeah. If you have the chance, you can find all of these tales online somewhere. Some of them are not too long. Probably only take about 5-10 minutes to read. They're very good stories, very creepy for Christmas. When most people think of creepy horror Christmas, obviously Krampus is going to come to mind, right?
Obviously, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Hannah, can you dive into Krampus a bit for us?
All right, Krampus is the Christmas big bad. He is probably the most familiar of the Christmas specters. Krampus is an Austrian boogeyman said to arrive the night before St. Nicholas Day, which is December 6th, not actually Christmas, to punish the naughty children. Krampus is thought to come, the word itself, Krampus, is thought to come from either the Bavarian Krampen, which means dead or rotten, or the German Kramp or Krampen, meaning claw.
See, I always thought he was 100% just German.
No, he's actually
Is it
kind
more
of
like Eastern European?
It's like Austrian, German, Bavarian, Alpine region. Think like mountains and the sound of music.
Makes sense when you look at him.
Yeah, you know, you see like a lot of sheep parts.
I see. Looking at Jordan's face, she is just like, no, not for me.
Hard no.
Pass. Fuck you, Krampus.
Get out of my
Not to get
house.
jiggy. Bye. See ya.
Krampus, the creature, is a direct foil for the gentle St. Nicholas, who arrives on St. Nicholas Day to bring well-behaved children small toys and sweets. St. Nicholas is marginally different from the American Santa Claus. American Santa is just kind of a
big
cute
jolly
little fat
man.
old man. Yeah,
Big
and
fat old
big
man.
fat old
It's like,
man.
here's your shit,
In
kid.
a red suit, bringing presents, reindeer. Yeah.
Santa brings you an Xbox. Saint
Yeah.
Nicholas brings you like an orange.
Okay.
But Saint Nicholas, he appears more as a friendly bishop.
Okay.
He's got the crook, he's got the big hat, the big old
Right.
pope hat.
Okay, I think I've seen this before.
Yeah, he's traditional Santa kind
Yeah.
of looking. Krampus, on the other hand, is a half-man, half-goat monster. He scampers about on cloven, goaty legs wrapped in coarse, curly hair. His top half hulks above, wrapped in chains, toting a large, heavy sack and a bundle of birch twigs. His head perches on top like a mask, with huge, black, curling horns and a long, pointed tongue that lolls out between rows of sharp and yellowed teeth.
People are gonna start hitting us up and tell her that she has to go scare the fucking kids.
Yeah.
I want to scare some kids.
It sounds like a good description of like the devil. Like the
Yeah.
devil is
Doesn't
always
it?
like a half goat, half man kind of thing.
Yeah, there was a lot of Christian influence to try and ban Krampus, just because of his
Right.
physical association with the devil. There were some movements that have Krampus like wrapped in chains as a sort of symbolic chaining of the devil.
Gotcha.
You've got like a really interesting combination of like folklore from alpine sheep herds and like the Catholic Church kind
Yeah.
of combining into this big nasty boogeyman, which is really, really cool.
Do you ever see those videos of those like traditional like little thingies that they have going on over there, and then there's like these fucking people that come out of nowhere in like these little stilts and shit all dressed up like Krampus, scare the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And they like do bells and like apparently like it's like a temporary thing, like they like bring these people on as like quote unquote apprentices, I'm just using it as my own word, and they like have to scare a certain amount of people to be able to stay as the Krampus people.
Can I join?
It's so fucking creepy.
You would kill it. You scare kids on Halloween.
I would not be good at this. I'd be like, here's the bell. Like, you know, I would not. I'm not good at scaring people. I'm just not good at
Ding,
it.
ding. Get out of my lawn.
No, but I would deadass, like, be super scared of Krampus.
Well, the thing that you're describing, I think, is a Krampus loaf or a Krampus run, which is... it is traditional in many Austrian towns to hold these wild parades, which are the Krampuslauf, where young men dress up as Krampus and just rampage drunkenly through the streets.
That sounds like such a great song.
It does! That's a real Christmas party, man.
Wow.
You gotta get real weird with it.
You gotta go crazy.
Yeah, and you know, like these are more of the adult ones, the adult
Right.
version, or maybe a little bit of more of like a dark night traditional Christmas kind of
Gotcha.
thing. Nowadays you usually see like there's a bunch of Krampuses, but like if your kid is crying, here's Saint Nicholas and he'll give him a little toy, or sometimes the Krampuses will be accompanied by like ladies dressed as angels.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's, you know, it's not too scary. You don't want, nobody needs to pee their pants for Christmas.
I was gonna say, kids are probably out there shitting and pissing in the streets with them.
Well, then they better be good.
So scared.
Yeah.
You guys are something else.
Because I would, as a child, I would probably be shitting my pants
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah, of course.
For Krampus. But basically, his whole purpose is to scare the kids. If you are naughty and not deserving of a little orange or walnut sweet from St. Nicholas, Krampus will show up and either, like, beat the shit out of you with his birch twigs, or he will, like, some places he eats you outright. He'll just fucking eat you.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures of where like Krampus like gnawing on a child's head.
Or he'll stuff you in the sack either to eat you later or to take you to hell, where you might also still be eaten.
They just went in like full dark.
No
with this.
wonder.
Yeah.
No wonder my friend from work, every time we bring up Krampus, she literally goes pale and she like has horror stories of this happening to her.
Like your parents telling you this shit
Yeah.
for years at a young age. So
Yeah, her family used to pull the Krampus card on her ass.
that's
So.
crazy.
He's coming back, baby. Krampus is back. Lots of people love
A
Krampus.
lot of people do love Krampus.
I was trying to go this year to a Krampuslauf in Jim Thorpe.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, and
I
we
didn't know
missed
they
it
had
by like
one.
a day.
Oh, that's cool.
But Jim Thorpe,
I think we gotta go next year.
I mean, I'm
Right?
not going. You guys can
Oh,
go.
we're
let's
going.
go.
I'm not fucking going.
You're going.
We'll go.
Nay. You're on your own.
I'm coming for the Krampus. But Jim Thorpe, publicize your Krampuslauf. I want to go. People say that the popularity of Krampus, I'm sure people just like to be sick. That's me.
like
I just
us.
like to be sick. But some people say that the modern popularity of Krampus is a reaction to the commercialization of Christmas.
Interesting.
Yeah, I could see that. Dive deep
Well, then
into
there's
darkness
those
a
crazy
little bit.
people that love horror and everything like that. And we're
Like
like,
us.
yeah, we need like a kid-eating big-ass monster to scare the crap out
Hey,
of people.
Halloween all year long.
Lit.
As is
I'm with you
tradition.
on that one.
All right, that's Krampus.
Krampus.
Awesome.
I think Krampus is awesome. I think Jordan thinks Krampus is terrifying.
I'm scared of Krampus.
I love it.
Me too.
Well, Jordan, what was the creepy Christmas story that you looked up?
So I did Hans Trapp, who's also known as the Christmas Scarecrow.
Oh, your sister would hate that.
I know. I said it out loud at work, and she's like, a scarecrow? On Christmas?
She's terrified of
Yeah,
scarecrows.
she hates scarecrows. And they could be like the cute little smiling scarecrows, and she will literally be like, get that the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
So the terrifying Hans Trapp is possibly the worst of all the spooky Christmas legends. One story in particular describes him stabbing a child, slicing him into tiny pieces, and cooking him and eating his flesh.
Oh my god.
The legend of the Christmas Scarecrow is well known in France. He lived in the 1400s as a powerful, rich, and merciless man who was feared by all the people in the village.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, I wonder why. His thirst for power was so great that he started to make deals with the devil to enhance his power and status.
Jesus.
Once the Pope started hearing of this, he excommunicated Trapp, banishing him and his wealth and lands. Everything was confiscated.
Wow.
Yeah, all of which is nothing compared to what came next, though.
Oh boy.
So he was reduced to constructing a makeshift home in the mountains of Bavaria in Germany. Here he continued to fester and his evil desires grew. He developed a desire to try the taste of human flesh, specifically the flesh of children.
Oh.
Nope.
Ew. To get a child to come to him and trust him, he knew he had to come up with a disguise, to which he finally came up with the dreaded Christmas Scarecrow.
That's awesome.
Oh my god.
Super spoopy. After stuffing straw into his arms and chest as the disguise, he waited on lonely roads for a victim. A boy around the age of 10 happened to cross his path one day, and Trapp stabbed the unfortunate boy with a sharp stick.
Jesus.
That's very Krampus of him.
With the body safely back in his lair, Trapp sliced it into pieces and roasted it. But before he could eat, he was struck by a divine lightning bolt and killed.
Hold on. The last 3 podcasts,
I know.
you have had stories that involved someone getting struck by lightning. So
I know.
now this is the 4th one about someone being struck by lightning.
But you gave me this one.
Yeah, because you like France.
You
And
assigned
your dad's
me
name
this
is Hans,
story.
so I was like,
Yes.
all right, I'm giving this one to Jordan.
Which is weird because it works so well with me, and then it has to do with lightning.
That is seriously, I am not going near you in a light. Do not leave the house
I know.
if there's a lightning storm.
Cursed for his wrongdoing, he became a half-human, half-scarecrow creature in the afterlife. Today, naughty children are warned that Hans Trapp's spirit lingers on and that he may visit them in his scarecrow disguise if they don't mend their ways. Interestingly, the story seems to have been inspired by a real person.
Oh,
Hans von Trotha, I'm assuming that's how you say his last name, was a knight who lived from 1450 to 1503. He commanded 2 castles in the French-German territory, but became angered after an argument with the church over property. They would not concede certain properties to von Trotha, so the bitter knight stopped the supply of water to a nearby town with a dam. In retaliation, they had the dam destroyed, which flooded the villagers' homes and businesses. The dispute continued until the knight was summoned by the Pope himself and excommunicated, which is just like the story we were just talking about, the
Right.
legend. There's no record of von Trotha turning to cannibalism and hunting children while dressed as a scarecrow, but his real life story is pretty badass. Even the emperor's intervention wasn't enough to put a stop to the knight's battle with the church, which is exactly why the Pope came into the picture in the first place. On his summoning to court, von Trotha refused to attend.
he's like, nope.
He's like, bye. Instead, he sent a letter to the Pope, which detailed von Trotha's faith while accusing the Pope of impure acts.
Oh my god.
Like a badass he is. Even excommunicated, von Trotha did well for himself by serving in the French royal court, which I thought was super cool.
I think he really served while he was excommunicated.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not supposed to be here, but I'm here. On his death, all charges against him were reversed and forgiven. Local legends also referred to him as the Black Knight, a formidable specter that was also sometimes said to accompany Santa Claus and punish children who were unworthy of gifts.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The connection between these two is really cool.
Yeah. And it's cool
Wow.
because it's like almost like they took a story from somewhere else and like kind of made it their own. Like you can see in all of these stories, they have a little bit of a twist to them, but it's still like scary as shit.
Yeah, but I like how like literally you have like kind of where this folktale came from.
Yeah.
From an actual
This had
person.
a lot of research done on it. Like I could find, there's so many websites and there's so many different variations of this story where like some of them are like really freaking scary and super gory, and then there's some that are just like, here's this guy and he, you know, went out with whoever and did his thing. You know, like it's like you can get completely different variations of the story.
No, but this is really cool. I've never heard of this before, and I think that's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
And it seems like we have a theme here, which I figured, which is something is going to punish or kill bad children.
Yes.
Probably by eating them.
And it might get worse as we go on. So not only since Santa Claus is coming to town, but also Krampus and a child-eating scarecrow, we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we're going to tell you who else you should fear who's coming to town. This episode is brought to you by The Colony Meadery. If you haven't tried mead yet, it's alcohol made from honey, and it's the fastest growing alcoholic beverage in the United States. It's all natural, totally gluten-free, and delicious. And one of the best meaderies in the world is right here in the Lehigh Valley. The Colony Meadery has two locations, 905 Harrison Street in Allentown and 211 East 3rd Street in the heart of Bethlehem Southside. Stop in and try a flight of meads, grab some bottles or cans to go, and experience some of the best booze in the world. They've got flavors ranging from tart and quaffable lemon laws and Wu-Tang Cran to cinnamon vanilla series of tubes and even the sweet heat of their mango habanero. Learn more at either location or at colonymeadery.com. Ghost Encounters podcast and show is sponsored by Phoenix Fire Media. Bring the heat to your online presence with their expert social media marketing, photography, and video productions. Visit phoenixfiremedia.com. If all you spooky people are enjoying the Ghost Encounters podcast, hit subscribe and give us 5 stars. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Ghost Encounters PA. To watch full episodes of the Ghost Encounters show, visit ghost-encounters.com. The Spooky Shop is now open for Ghost Encounters merch. Visit ghost-encounters.com and click on Spooky Shop. And we are back. I hope, for those of you who are listening who have children, that your children are behaved, because we're going to get into some more terrifying Christmas creatures.
Creepy.
Hannah, I remember we were talking the other day, and like I said, your eyes lit up when I mentioned like creepy Christmas stuff, and you brought up Iceland. Iceland seems to be very dark.
I feel like Iceland is very, or at least it was very isolated due to being an island.
Well, yeah.
So they really kind of had a lot of time to develop their own, like, weird, unique culture.
Yeah. But I think at the top of the ones we're going to talk about, it starts with Grýla, right?
It does.
Can you tell us a little bit about her?
Sure. Grýla is another terror to children. She is an ogre, stories of which have been around since the 13th century. And she is said to have children herself, but her children are trolls. These 13 children, to be exact, each has a creepy and oddly specific name, like Pot Scraper and Door Slammer. Anyway, these Yule lads, as they are called, emerge from their cavernous home to assist their mother, who also ventures out of said cave, in rounding up naughty children to eat and to generally just be annoying. Over the 2 weeks leading up to Christmas, they live up to their very specific names. I have read on occasion about the Icelandic Christmas critter tradition, just because it's so bizarre. but I think that one of the sources that I read first off, the thing that they said about Grýla is that she doesn't have like any of the sort of if you don't do this then this. Okay. I think she just eats you.
Oh shit.
Like she's just an ogre, don't run across her or she will eat you.
Oh, geez.
And that's it. Like the kids are the Christmas ones and they'll like, you know, they'll kind of mess up your life and they'll eat your food and they'll give you a bad time. But Grýla is just like full stop, fully evil, will eat you.
Oh my gosh.
It's wild.
So I decided to look up these 13 Yule lads to see what they did for those 2 weeks leading up to Christmas. I'm going to go down the list. We have Sheepcote Claude. He tries to suckle ewes in farmers' sheep sheds.
Gross.
We have Gully Gawk. He steals foam from buckets of cow milk. Stubby. He's short and steals food from frying pans.
No shit, he's short.
Spoon Licker. He licks spoons. Pot Scraper, aka Pot Licker. He steals unwashed pots and licks them clean.
That is so funny.
He can come to my house.
Speaking of licking, we have Bowl Licker. He steals bowls of food from under the bed. I guess back in the days, like Icelanders used to have bowls of food underneath their bed. I'm thinking midnight snack. I don't know. Maybe because it's so cold. Like maybe because the fire is only going in one room and they don't want to get up on the cold floor. I don't know. Door Slammer. Literally, he stomps around and slams doors, keeping everyone awake. Which, these are kind of funny reading them, but imagine it's winter, it's night, it's cold, it's silent, and literally someone's stomping around slamming doors and you can't see them. You know? That'd be pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
Skyr Gobbler. He eats up all the Icelandic yogurt. Skyr. Sausage Swiper. There's a lot of jokes I want to make right now, but I'm not going to. Sausage Swiper. He loves stolen sausages.
But they have to be stolen.
That one is really funny.
Window Peeper.
No.
He likes to creep outside windows and sometimes steal the stuff he sees inside. A Door Sniffer. He has a huge nose and an insatiable appetite for stolen baked goods.
Same.
Meat Hook. He snatches up any meat left out, especially smoked lamb. And lastly, we have Candle Beggar. He steals candles, which was a sought-after item in winter in Iceland.
Wow.
Yeah, those are her 13 annoying mischief children.
Sounds like some crazy group of kids.
Yeah.
So, obviously, they are troublesome. They made people's lives hell, but I don't think they're anything as bad compared to the Yule Cat. Jordan, can you tell us about our furry friend? Well, not really friend.
Not a friend. The Yule Cat is a giant cat who punishes people for not working hard. Legend has it that this whiskered animal once roamed the Icelandic countryside, looking for those, especially children, around the holidays, who did not receive clothing or had done their chores. Like, could you imagine? I'm not getting clothing, and then now I have this big fucking cat coming after me.
Right.
It's not my fault I ain't getting clothing.
Well, it might be.
What if I'm too young to buy clothing?
Or too young to do your chores.
True. It's not my fault. Damn cat.
Well, the cat's coming for you.
Fuck. I'd be scared.
It's a hard, chilly life.
People are like, screw you, the cat's coming.
13th century Iceland. You're 2-year-old, you gotta make eggs.
Oh my gosh.
Gotta ferment that skyr.
Oh my gosh. For a little more context, kids who worked hard through the year were treated to fresh garments just before the new year. Those who didn't were deemed lazy, and Yule Cat feeds off of such laziness, literally. This was a great way to make sure kids did their chores, because who wants to be eaten by a big giant cat?
Fucking nobody.
I don't. I don't even like cats, so this whole big ass cat. I'm a dog person, so
Oh god, imagine that. Like,
I would not want a big ass cat.
you didn't get clothes, and now the big ass cat's coming to eat you.
Are there like pictures of this Yule Cat online where you could see
There's
like what they,
drawings
like
of it. Yeah, adaptations of it. And apparently the Yule Cat is a pet of Grýla.
Oh,
So
interesting.
all these belong to that big bitch.
That big bitch, the
Who
ogre.
just eats you.
The ogre who has 13 kids that are all crazy, and then a big ass cat that just wants to eat people.
Yeah.
Sounds like a wild
Living
fucking
her
ride.
best life. I think I read something once where Grýla had a husband, but like he just stays home. Like
My wife's out eating people, but I'm gonna stay at home.
Does nothing.
hanging out. Where's Christmas Cat? Did he get clothes? This freeloading
God.
man.
Well, let's keep these creepy Christmas things going. Hannah, what was the next one that was looked up?
We are returning to Austria and Germany. We're going back
Lovely.
to the Alps, and we are going to talk about Frau Perchta. It seems that the old folks of Austria and Germany really love their cautionary Christmas critters. Frau Perchta, or Berchta, is a Yuletide entity that is sort of halfway between a witch and a goddess.
Oh, cool.
She is largely focused upon the home, partly on the cleanliness of the home, and partly on whether or not you have spun all of your flax.
What is flax?
Flax it's used to make clothing. It's like
Kind of like a thread or something?
Yeah, well, it's not, it's like plant material. Flax
Okay.
is a plant. And then, I don't know if maybe you harvest like a grain from it, and the stuff that's left over is like a fiber that can be made into textiles.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's like, I guess it's like wool, you know?
Right,
or
right.
whatever cotton. Cotton.
Yeah.
It's kind of like cotton.
Okay.
Except there's also a part that you can eat.
Gotcha.
And that's flax. But if you had not spun all of your flax, you're gonna piss off Frau Perchta.
I don't know if I want to piss her off.
No.
Or it
No.
Is it a boy? Is it a girl?
She is a lady.
She's a lady. Okay.
She's
See,
a
now
lady.
I already pissed her off.
In addition to being called Frau Perchta, she is also called the Spinnstubenfrau, or the spinning room lady.
Sorry, I laughed at Spinnstubenfrau.
It's a good one. Dude, German words are great. Okay, so Perchta, the spinning room lady, is typically depicted with a long beaky nose made of iron.
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 Yeah.
Jeez.
She's a cold, hard bitch. She is dressed in rags, and she is perhaps carrying a cane. She generally resembles a decrepit old crone.
Mm-hmm.
I love the crone motif, personally, in most of its forms.
Yeah.
I relate to this. I will love finishing off my days as a hag.
Jeez.
But she is not the sweet grandmotherly type, as under her skirt she keeps a long fucking knife
Oh my
Oh
god.
my God.
that she will use to slit open the bellies of those who have not adequately cleaned their homes or spun all their flax.
Jeez.
She will, once she has slit open the belly, she will then stuff the gutted, empty carcass with straw and rocks. Yes.
I love how she wrote pause for effect, and we all paused without even looking at the paper.
Because you have to pause there, because what the fuck, you
I'm gonna leave
guys.
that pause.
Yes.
That is ridiculous.
That is the cautionary part.
She's pressed. She
Is
was
she like,
pressed.
is she like doing her own taxidermy? Like,
Seems like she's just
After a fashion?
yeah.
really?
I guess. I mean, she just leaves you there. It's not like she takes you home.
She don't want you. She just wants to kill your ass. Great.
However, she doesn't just like cut you open and kill you. If your home isn't quite messy enough, and maybe you spun most of your flax, and she's in a good mood, or maybe, if you've spun most of your flax and she's in a good mood, she might not kill you. She might just trample all over your partly spun flax,
Okay.
or set your house on fire.
Well, that's
Oh my
not
God.
good either.
What the
all
hell?
bad. She's very mean. She
No
doesn't
shit.
leave you anything.
She is fucking mean.
Yeah, she doesn't leave you anything. It's just like, please don't burn down my house and kill me.
Is there anything you can do to like,
I guess
what if you're still worried? Like, oh my god, did I spin enough flax? Is my home clean enough for her? Like,
I guess you can traditionally leave her a bowl of porridge. Partly, I guess, as a peace offering.
Okay.
And it's a
Don't
little
kill
like
my ass. Here's my porridge.
it's a little like leaving milk and cookies for Santa.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Here's some milk and cookies.
Some
Don't
porridge.
kill me.
Of all things.
Have an oatmeal.
Yeah.
Don't burn my house down.
Oh my gosh.
Perchta may, she doesn't just have roots in Alpine Austria, but she could sort of belong to the Scandinavian tradition as well. Her fixation on spun flax ties her to Frigg, a Norse goddess who is associated, to condense a lot of stuff, with spinning thread and divining the future.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a little bit like the Fates, you know? Like,
yeah, I remember,
yeah, it's all, everything cross-pollinates.
It really does.
I love it. Okay. Perchta is also associated with the Norse legends of the Wild Hunt. The Wild Hunt is basically a posse of ghosts and spectral hounds riding through the night, led by typically Odin or some other grand mythological warrior. Frau Perchta flies through the frozen alpine nights, accompanied by an entourage of lost souls and unbaptized babies known as the Perchten.
Jeez.
These demonic creatures look almost identical to Krampus.
Of course.
Some sources say that there are also sweet and pretty Perchten, but I personally, I tend to gravitate toward the nasty
Right, the story
ones.
about the nasty ones.
Legend has it that if you hear the wind and thunder roaring through the mountains on the appropriate night of the year, you are actually hearing the sounds of Perchta leading the wild hunt.
That's really cool.
I love it.
That's
It's so
really
creepy.
cool.
It's so creepy. I love it.
Oh my god.
Give me the dark, frozen nights.
I gotta make sure my house is clean and I've spun my flax. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, she's
Better
a little
start
bit
spinning.
dated. Little bit dated at this point.
I don't want to be taxidermied with straw and stones.
Nah, man. Fuck that.
Well, since we're on a creepy roll, Jordan, what was the next one that you looked up?
So I looked up Mari Lwyd. This story begins in Wales in the early 1800s. This person, or this being, whatever you want to call it, is the textbook definition of nightmare fuel.
Great.
The iconic holiday tradition is said to be derived from some sort of religious rite, most likely pagan, as everything seems to be in this podcast episode. The celebration takes place around Christmas time and involves Welsh residents donating horse skulls or placing a horse skull on a stick and heading door to door, singing to homeowners. So it's like Christmas caroling with a dead horse head.
That is freaking cool. Can we do that?
I want to do it.
There's a lot of pictures online of them doing this like tradition.
People do this.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
It's super, super cool. There is a silver lining to this terror, though. If you encounter a horse skull on your doorstep, congratulations. You're a receiver of good luck.
Oh,
Rad.
cool.
The origin of this story / being are deeply mysterious. So Mary, it's spelled two different ways. It's spelled M-A-R-Y-I or M-A-R-I. Lwyd translates to gray mare and connects it to the heritage of pale horses in Celtic and British mythology. These horses can cross over into the underworld. The other translation for Mari Lwyd is the Grey Mary. Some scholars have linked her to a legend connected to a nativity story. So a pregnant horse was sent out of the stables when Mary arrived to have Jesus, and she spent dark days roaming the land trying to find somewhere new to have a foal.
Oh, poor horse.
I know. Many people believe the character to have come from pre-Christian pagan origins, which we said earlier. Anyway, the horse skull is taken around a village, often between Christmas Day and Twelfth Night, and is dressed with festive lights and decorations. Like in the pictures, they have it like with like a sheet down, and they have like little flowers on its head and
Can
everything.
I have that
really
instead
cool.
of a Christmas tree?
Oh,
Like, I'll put a horse head on a stick and decorate with lights and
what's
stuff.
wrong with you?
You could get it as like a Christmas tree topper.
Yeah.
Get, like, the
Yeah,
black
that's
Christmas
better.
tree.
I like that.
Yeah, man.
In some regions, other folk characters like a jester and a lady accompany her, which this is where like reading about this legend or whatever, it got a little confusing because they refer to like this made horse head as a her, as like a being. So I got a little confused while researching.
Gotcha.
So when the group gets to a house, they will sing Welsh language songs, more traditionally indulge in a ritual, explained as an exchange of rude rhymes with the person who lives there.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
They're kind of like...
There once was a man from Nantucket.
Yes, they're doing those. They're kind of like rap battling with each other, but like...
That's so funny. If the Mary and her gang get entry, the household is said to have good luck for the year. The Mary is well known to be mischievous by trying to steal things and chase people she likes as she goes about doing her bidding. The first written record of this tradition is in J. Evans' book, A Tour Through Part of North Wales. It has similarities to other hooded animal traditions in Britain, like the hooding in Kent, the Broad in the Cotswolds, and the Old Tup in Derbyshire. Those are pretty funny ones. All which involve a group of poor people trying to find food and money in harsh depths of winter.
Oh my god.
Yeah. What a fucking mess.
Yes.
Entertainment was their method, with a side portion of menace, that dead horse's skull appearing in the shadow at your door. Welsh poet Vernon Watkins even wrote a long poem about her in 1941, the Ballad of Mari Lwyd. His words beautifully capture the Mari Lwyd's frightening aspect. So here's the quote. The living are defended by the rich warmth of the flames which keep that loneliness out. Terrified, they hear the dead tapping at the panes. Then they rise up, armed with the warmth of firelight.
Jeez.
Delicious.
Yeah.
I love it.
I found most of my research on Wales.com. And they concluded the entire page like this. Here's another quote. So don't have nightmares. Let yourself be taken in by the darkness and go with Mari Lwyd towards the light.
Oh.
When I read this, I got chilled. I thought it was real spooky. So it was like a nice little ending to that whole big mess of a tradition, belief, whatever the hell you want to call
That's crazy.
it.
I definitely would like to entertain people by going around door to door, singing and insulting rhymes with a horse's skull and a stick.
Yeah.
And
if you go to Mari
and then
Lwyd
leaving
on
a-
Wales.com, you can see all the pictures, which are super, super
That's
cool.
cool. And then the darkness of this by leaving a horse's skull at someone's doorstep.
Yeah.
But it brings good luck.
But it's good luck.
Yeah.
Like, we would think that's scary, but I guess they didn't and don't.
I think the scariness of it is like just kind of the cherry on top of the bleakness of winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's very symbolic and spooky. It's all about death, man. Even Christmas.
All of these are about
It's all
death.
about death.
Well, except for this last one I'm going to talk about. This one's kind of more on the nice side to lighten up the mood a little bit, even though it does involve a witch, but she's not a bad witch. I'm going to talk about the legend of La Befana. In Italian folklore, La Befana is a witch who brings good children treats on the morning of Epiphany, January 6th. But if you were bad, look out, you may wake up with a lump of coal. Sounds familiar, right? Well, she does not say ho ho ho, and she does not have reindeer. La Befana has been flying around the world on her tatted broomstick to swoop down chimneys and deliver sweets or sooty judgment on girls and boys long before Kris Kringle could even grow a mustache. The witch has been in the Italian tradition at least since the 8th century as part of the Epiphany. In Italy, the Epiphany marks the official end of Christmas season, commemorating the day when the 3 wise men arrived at the manger bearing gifts. Every year, the association is celebrated with living nativity scenes, great procession through the city center, and most exciting for the sweet tooths among us, the arrival of La Befana. As La Befana enters houses through the chimney, or resorts to other techniques for getting into homes without a fireplace, she wears a distinctive dark shawl caked with layers of chimney soot. After delivering gifts or sweets to good children or coal to the bad ones, she sweeps the floor of a home before she departs, adds a symbolic gesture for cleaning out the old just as the new year dawning. So she's really nice.
Oh my God.
I like that one.
Yeah.
That's a good little
So
end.
she knows she's making a
Yeah.
mess when she's coming down, so then she sweeps up after herself.
Oh, that's sweet.
Apparently
I just
this
imagined like little Mary Poppins type lady. Just
yeah.
like,
I mean, she's
like a
witchy and witchy looking. She has a tattered broomstick flying around, but it's shockingly similar to Santa Claus coming down the chimney, leaving
Yeah.
sweets for the good children and coal for the bad ones. Apparently this started because the 3 wise men, when they were on their way to Jesus, they stopped at La Befana's place. they told her about the birth of Jesus, and they're like, come with us, accompany us. And she's like, no, I'm fine. Well, so she takes care of them for the night. They stay with her. They leave that morning, and as she's cleaning, she's like, you know what? Maybe I should go. And they told her to follow the star, and they'll find it, but she unfortunately never found him. She never made it there, so this is kind of why she comes around the world leaving treats for good children, because she's forever looking for Jesus.
Wow,
that's a good story.
Really, that makes so much more sense than Santa Claus, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It really does.
Like, it's Santa Claus. Why does he do stuff? Who knows? He feels like it. La Befana has a reason, you know.
Yeah,
And-
exactly.
Yeah, I really like that story.
Yeah.
So it was on a little bit of a lighter side to end these stories.
I feel like we needed one.
Yeah.
After all the death and the eating of little children.
yeah. Now La Befana's here, and she's gonna bring in orange.
Yeah, and they celebrate her, and people dress up, and they have parades and all kinds of stuff.
Aw,
Yeah.
I go to
Well,
that parade.
that was the end of our creepy Christmas stories. Now it is time for one of my favorite parts of this podcast, the spooky fan stories.
Yay.
Jordan, who do we have today?
So I had a story that Abby sent me a while ago when she sent me her first story. So she was actually on here before with
Excellent.
spooky fan stories. So she wrote in again.
Well, Abby, thank you for 2 stories now.
So her story starts. So basically we had 2 sisters that used to babysit for my family growing up. The one night my parents had gone out somewhere and one of them babysat us and put us to bed because our parents didn't come home until long after bedtime. I remember waking up at some point during the night hearing a weird noise, and I thought I was waking up to my parents coming home. So I got up out of bed and started to go down the hall thinking they were in the kitchen. I remember stopping dead in my tracks because what I saw was at first I thought was still the babysitter was there. Because I saw a woman that was tall and thin with kind of long hair, which is sort of what the babysitter looks like. For reference, the babysitter's dad is Indian and the mom is white, so it kind of gives you a picture of what they should have looked like. And then I realized that the person, she put in quotes, was floating and didn't have legs.
Oh, full apparition.
Kick ass.
Yeah. It was definitely a woman in a white dress type ghost that you had talked about on the podcast before.
Yeah, the woman in white.
Yeah. When you guys brought that up, I remember all of the hair on my arm standing up and thinking about the memory of what I saw there. It was like the ghost was standing in front of the coat closet and then just floated off towards the kitchen. I know it's hard to explain because you don't know the setup of my parents' house. I was only 6, 7, or 8 years old maybe at the time, but I just remember it being a dark-haired woman with a white outfit or dress on. It did not interact with me or even look at me from what I recall, but I remember standing in the hallway of my parents' house outside of my bedroom and just being terrified for a second. Now, the super weird thing about that is that my parents built this house when they got married. So it was built in 1979, so it's not exactly an old house, and they are the only owners that ever lived there. That's kind of weird.
Yeah,
I
you're
feel
seeing like an
yeah.
apparition, and it's not like people have died there before or anything like that.
Maybe
Yeah.
it came with the babysitter.
Oh,
Oh, I didn't think of
an
that.
attachment of some
Yeah,
kind.
interesting.
Right?
Smart, Hannah, look at you.
I'm just speculating wildly.
So it's not like anybody would have died there or it was a previous owner or anything like that. I am 41 years old, and to this day, I think I only told 3 people that story. I never even told my parents or brother.
Well, thank you for sharing with us.
Yeah, I
'cause
feel
that's a
special
really
as
cool
hell.
story. Yeah.
Thanks, Abby.
Yeah, Abby, that was a good story. And write in more if you have any updates, because we need some stories.
Yes. For all of you listening, don't forget, send in your spooky fan stories to GhostEncountersStories@gmail.com. We will read your spooky fan story, and like we said before, we can make you anonymous if you wish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for listening so much. This marks the end of the first half of the 2nd season. I can't believe it. We're here already.
Yes, we appreciate you all so much for listening.
Yes, we are going to take a kind of like a holiday break. We'll be back in a few weeks, but we have some really cool, interesting stories and creepy podcast episodes upcoming for you, so stay tuned. We wish you all a very great holiday, whatever it is you believe in, whether it's walking around with a horse's head on a stick or that Krampus is going to whip you with sticks. Whatever you believe in, whatever you practice, we wish you a very happy holiday. We hope none of these things come get you and eat you. But we will see you after the new year. So stay spooky.
Merry Christmas.
And make sure that you leave out a bowl of porridge for Frau Perchta.